Hello everyone and welcome to The Bottoms Get Beat Up. We're starting with group 1, which is the Nekoma edition. I wasn't sure at first which group I should start with, so I asked you and you voted for this one, and to be honest, you have chosen my favorite. I'm very excited for this to start, so let's go, enjoy! On a final short note before we start, this is the prologue, but all the ships and all the videos will follow very soon, so stay tuned! I can't believe I'm friends with the KuroKen. Yaku laughed and Kenma rolled his eyes, already regretting having accepted Yaku's invitation to meet while he was visiting Japan. Shibayama chuckled at the face he made. Who would have thought our Kenma would become so famous? You're literally dating a model. Yeah, how is Liev-kun, by the way? Same big idiot. He tried sounding casual, but his ears turned red, and as he looked away, a soft smile was adoring his face. In Kenma's eyes, it was honestly much more surprising that they would make it work, but he was happy for them. Maybe he would have even told him that if he hadn't still been mad at the libero for dragging him out for a drink. Despite hiding in the furthest corner of the small bar, it felt crowded and noisy. How about you? Any luck in matters of romance? He grinned at Shibayama, whose cheeks actually turned bright pink at the comment. Oh, well, Hey, I couldn't help but overhear, so would you mind if I bought you a drink? A guy approached them from the side and leaned uncomfortably close to Shibayama, who visibly shrunk. Kenma too leaned further away in disdain at the lack of awareness for personal space. Actually, I was just about to tell my friends that I have a boyfriend. He let out a nervous laugh. From the corner of his eye, he could see Yaku's head perk up in interest, but his eyes remained focused on the guy, narrowed in suspicion. It's just a drink. How about it? I don't think that would be appropriate. What, is he that insecure? Shibayama's expression darkened and anger flashed in his eyes. No. I tried to be nice about this, but I don't want your stupid drink, and quite frankly, this is disgusting. For a moment the man's ego seemed to have taken a hit, but then that awful smirk returned. Feisty. How appealing. Come on, sweetie, he doesn't— Hey, asshole! He said no, now back the F off. What are you gonna do about it, midget? Kenma flinched. This was not going to end well. Yaku's expression had darkened, and he had that forced, almost feral grin stretching his lips as he tried to contain his anger. Step back from him, creep. You. Wait, him? You're a guy? He stared at Shibayama in something like disgust, taking Kenma off as well. He could feel the anger building like water slowly starting to boil. Yes, so now that it's obvious that neither of us is interested, would you care to leave? You are annoying. You think you can make a fool out of me? That would require you not to do that yourself. His voice was quiet compared to the rest, but the guy still heard him and snapped. Kenma's eyes widened as he saw the fist swinging toward him, and for a moment he was frozen in shock, but Yaku stepped between them, deflected the punch and shoved the guy backward. He stumbled, visibly drunk and fighting for balance. When he managed to steady himself, a growl-like incoherent sound came from him, drawing the attention from those around, from which, sadly, some seemed to be his friends. "Hey! How dare you attack my body like that?" "Well, your buddy started it." Yaku had placed himself between them and the other two, staring the idiots down with his best death glare while motioning for Kenma and Shibayama to leave the bar. They hadn't even made it 2 steps before the fight broke out anew. Kenma lost track of what was happening rather quickly. While he still tried to make sense of it and search for an opportunity to escape with his friends, he was suddenly grabbed by the shirt and lifted slightly from the ground. Pain exploded in the side of his skull as it collided with the fist aimed at him. Instinctively, he brought his hands up, and in a moment of clarity, he managed to angle his elbows above the arms holding him and bringing them down in a rapid motion, freeing himself. Upon falling to the ground, he didn't waste time to skid backward, and when hands reached for him again, he blocked it with his arm. The guy gripped his wrist hard to the point of pain, but this time Kenma could move more freely. When the guy pulled, it actually helped him to regain his footing and dodged the next attack by leaning backward, which simultaneously threw the other off balance. It only lasted so long, and surprised by his own success, he didn't notice the other approaching from behind and wrapping his arm around Kenma's neck. His eyes widened in panic as he was held up, while the one who attacked him first aimed for his stomach. The air was punched out of his lungs and Kenma doubled over trying to catch his breath. He coughed and spit flew from his mouth. Hot anger surged through his veins as he saw them mocking him, and with all he had, he pushed himself up and headbutted the other in the face. A scream echoed from behind and he let go of him. Kenma expected the guy who attacked him first to come at him again, but when he looked up, he saw that Yaku had taken care of that. And not just that. The libero looked arguably to be in the worst shape of the 3 of them. His cheeks sported a bloody cut. He had scratches and bruises blossoming on his arms and neck, but his opponents backed off on their own. They screamed something along the lines of, "This isn't over," while visibly shaking and backing off. They were lying to themselves, and Kenma knew it. "You okay?" After making sure that none of the idiots would attempt anything again, worry coined Yaku's expression, and he gathered him and Shibayama to get a closer look at their injuries. "More or less. You look worse though." "Yeah, shouldn't we be asking you that?" Shibayama looked shaken and stared at Yaku in shock. "Ah, you know how it is. We liberos are used to some bruises." He grinned and with a napkin and some disinfectant started to clean out the cut at Shibayama's forehead. The younger hissed in response. A couple of tears were forming in his eyes and he visibly struggled not to let them slip. "There you go." He turned to Kenma next, who luckily had no open wounds to show, but he was certain that the hit to his face and the grip on his arm would bruise. "How are you feeling? Do you feel lightheaded?" He shook his head. Everything considered, he felt okay. It could have been much worse. Everything was just overwhelming. "I get us alright." Yaku nodded slowly and put an arm around Shibayama as they walked out of the bar. Kenma couldn't help but notice that there was a slight limp in the Libero's step. Inside the car, Kenma gave the driver their addresses and asked for Shibayama to be dropped off first. The younger finally allowed for the tears to spill as they were settled safely inside. Kenma could emphasize well and saw even Yaku wiping at his eyes a couple of times. He himself let his head fall against the cool surface of the window. His head was throbbing and everything, every sound, flickering light or touch, hurt. He closed his eyes in frustration. He just wanted to drown and hide in the dark void of sleep where no one could disturb or irritate him. He hated when it got to this point. He felt so wrong and uncomfortable in his own skin and just wished he could rid himself of the ability to feel. Upon arriving at Shibayama's, he waved them goodbye and whispered a small thanks before hopping out of the car and swiftly closing the distance to the house. Next was Yaku. Even though the Libero tried to insist Kenma should be dropped off first, but the gamer just waved him off, weakly exclaiming that he had done enough today and should rest. Every discussion was pointless anyway, and ultimately they stopped at Yaku's and Liev's apartment. The Libero hesitated before stepping out to go home. Kenma, I'm sorry. I convinced you to go out tonight and now this wasn't the plan. Of course not, but it's fine. He took a deep breath and opened his eyes ever so slightly to meet his former senpai's gaze. It was nice seeing you again, Yaku. The other smiled. Yeah, you too, Kenma. He closed the door as quietly as possible, leaving Kenma alone to his thoughts. He was grateful for the silence suddenly filling the car. The only thing still audible was the silent hum from the engine and the rustling of the wind outside. Kenma could feel the subtle vibrations of the window, and for just a moment he let that lull him in. For just a moment he dissociated, away from the pounding in his head or the nausea that followed the punch to his stomach, away from the worrying about what Kuro would think if he had come home bruised and battered. Kuro. He longed for his embrace, and soft, reassuring words whispered between kisses. It was the only kind of touch he'd welcome even in this state. For just one moment he let it be just that, a blissful daydream, until the car came to a halt in front of their house and he was forced to step out and face reality. With a sigh, he got up, only pausing to tip the driver, if only because she was nice enough not to disturb him and smart enough not to listen to Yaku. She thanked him with a bow and wished him a swift recovery. Her eyes straying to his temple. Dread settled in his stomach, so it was noticeable. He didn't yet have the chance to assess the damage, but the reaction wasn't promising. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please remember to leave a like if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on the next parts of this specifically, and obviously the rest of my content as well. Tell me in the comments which ship you are most excited for, both from this group as well as from the other groups, and tell me your favorite quote under the pinned comment. There will be another video tomorrow. The next part of this will premiere the day after tomorrow, and yeah. That's the plan for now. Special thanks to my new Nekos who help this channel so much. Thank you so much. Here are my other social media you can check out, or even better, check out the other videos in the end card. I heard they're supposed to be pretty cool. And now I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. Bye!
Step one, we Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.